I wanted to make this film because I spent many years, over a decade, in nonprofit social services, working for issues that I cared very deeply about with people that really needed change. And I had a very difficult time, along with the organizations that I was working for, determining effectiveness. Were we as effective as we could be in achieving that change? Were we even achieving any change? It was really difficult to determine. And I think that it can be done, and that there are some organizations out there that are great examples of how this clarity of purpose and goals and assessing progress towards those goals works. And I really wanted to be able to profile them and to show directors of organizations out there who are interested in knowing if they're effective but struggling, and to show foundations and funders out there that are interested in having impact but struggling in determining that it's possible, and that there are and how it's actually done, and really inspire those directors and those funders to come forward and to devote resources to really figuring it out within their organizations. What are they trying to achieve? How are they going to get there? How are they going to measure the progress? And then really understand if they are being effective and share that information. I think film is so incredible in its ability to demonstrate concepts, things that are really maybe difficult to understand, that are kind of inaccessible, where there's a lot of jargon or this kind of thing, that film can kind of cut to the quick and really illustrate what that looks like. And in performance management, or really managing to outcomes in an organization, there's so much cultural sorts of things that go on, processes and the way resources are devoted. It's difficult to explain, and it's difficult to understand. And I think film does a great job of making accessible those large, really difficult concepts, and speaks to the emotional piece of it. I mean, this is really I think this work it's difficult work that a lot of social service organizations are doing. It's very difficult to define outcomes and measurements towards them, and a film does a good job of really speaking to the sort of importance and urgency around that emotionally, I guess. I think philanthropy needs to be saved from obsolescence. I think it needs to be saved from not being able to demonstrate its effectiveness. I think that there are a lot of philanthropists out there, and foundations and initiatives that are effective and that can demonstrate their effectiveness, but there are a lot of them that cannot. There are a lot of organizations working with philanthropic dollars that aren't able to demonstrate their effectiveness. And so the film really depicts many of the people and organizations that are in our country today working to demonstrate effectiveness of social services and particular initiatives, and in an effort to kind of save philanthropy from not being effective. Well, first of all, I think that it's really important that the desire for measurement happen internally within an organization. So there's an organization stepping up saying, this is a priority for us to assess our progress, to know if what we're doing is working. At the same time, I think that it makes a lot of sense to ask one's funders for support for that kind of internal evaluation. So I think funders have a real important role to play in hearing that organizations want to know if what they're doing is effective, and then supporting that through their grants, that just supporting a program and program costs, that this is actually a very vital, important piece of the program that can't afford to just be something tacked on. I think it's something that should be a very essential part of grant making, but that really has to come from within the organization, and real clear ideas about how that's going to be used for the internal assessment of that organization. we really have two key target audiences for the film. One is directors of social service nonprofit organizations who are struggling with determining if they are effective in achieving their goals. The second is funders or donors and foundations of social service nonprofits who really care about effectiveness but maybe are also struggling with, for various reasons, with being able to determine if their grants are effective and if the organizations that they're granting are effective in their programs and services. We're really hoping that both of those audiences take away from the film a little bit of a tipping of their knowledge around performance management and the fact that it is doable and that there are resources out there, so that we're providing information about how effectiveness is demonstrated and measured and used to manage, and then also how there are resources available and organizations out there supporting foundations and organizations in sort of determining their goals and strategies for assessing progress. They can learn more about the film by going to savingphilanthropy.org.